there is strong. Then, there is MTI strong. The largest network of heat treaters in the world.
Hello members, I'm Tom Morrison. Welcome to another edition of MTI TV. Everyone knows if you're in manufacturing, then ISO accreditation is a pretty important factor to your company. Like other compliance standards, ISO is going through some changes with ISO 9001 due out in 2015. The key to getting ahead of the compliance curve and minimizing your cost of compliance is having a great understanding of what is changing. Rand Winters from the Rand Winters Group, MTI's official quality consultant, has been deeply involved in helping heat treaters understand what is coming down the road with the new ISO 9001 standard. Today we have Rand with us to share his perspective on those changes and what heat treaters should know. Rand, welcome to MTI TV.
Thank you, Tom.
Rand, there's a lot of talk about what changes are coming down the pipe for companies that are in ISO 9000. Can you share some of those key changes with us?
Yeah, I think I'd first like to talk about the three groups of heat treaters we have out there. One is a company that's automotive orientated and is registered to TS 16949. This standard is not going to change for the next 5 or 10 years. The International Automotive Task Force has already agreed with the ISO technical group not to change any of the language inside of TS 16949. So those people are not going to be involved with this discussion. The second group of people that probably will not be involved for a few years is the aerospace group, those people who are subscribing to AS9100. This standard is not owned by the International Organization of Standardization out of Geneva, Switzerland. It is owned by the Society of Automotive Engineering Aerospace Group, which is another non-profit organization that's running the standard. They've made no announcements, nor have they done anything as far as saying we're going to make a major change. They've made 2 or 3 changes in the last couple of years, and I think they're going to stay the course with what they have for a few years. Don't know the length of that. The third group is general industry, a company that is dealing with each of these groups, and they're going to be affected by the 2015 or 16 standard changes. And I think we have to remember when the standard comes out, there's going to be a time period for phasing in the new one. Some of the major changes that we're going to see is we're going to have no requirements for documented procedures. They've changed this to must be well documented, so there'll be some open for interpretation on what a well-documented area is. 7 auditable sections rather than 4 sections we have in ISO 9001 2008. And they're moving the numbering system around and changing the clauses, but they're carrying over a lot of the exact language from 2008. There's no requirement now for a quality manual. There's also no requirement for a management rep. And one of the things one of the reviewers brought up on the standard is incomplete requirements on monitoring and measuring devices. So there's a lot of change, and I'm not sure how significant any of the changes are.
What should heat treaters be doing in preparation for ISO 9001?
Okay, I think what heat treaters should be doing is, one, looking and seeing if there are any more drafts coming out. The item that was published was a committee draft, June 2013. I would certainly not start to do anything. Any documentation you have already meets or exceeds the requirements in the 2015 draft we've seen. I think it's important just to be aware of where the standard is in the approvals process. They actually have to come up with final drafts that are going to be voted upon. And I think there's a lot of discussion on this. I wouldn't be surprised something happening after 2015. But right now, I'd just be worried about what the revision level is and where it is in the approval process. I think there'll be some major changes on what the first draft is that we saw.
Rand, I know you do a lot of consulting in the area of ISO 9000 in your travels. What are a couple of areas of improvement you see that most companies need to make?
Okay, I think one of the good things, let's talk about preventive action, and the automotive group came out with a additional standard called CQI-9. So I'm saying, hey, let's talk about general industry. I think some of the things that are in there are valuable to be in having a stronger QMS. I certainly like the increased frequency on the uniformity testing. In some cases it might be an issue, other cases it's not a big issue, but this certainly is a good preventive action. So I think that's one of the things I've seen. Second thing, getting top management involved in determining quality objectives. If your customers are complaining about a lot of slow delivery or something, a quality objective should certainly be set on turnaround time. And heat treating is a lot different than building a part. As you get a part sitting on the back dock, how long is it going to take you to turn it around? In some cases, it's an overnight process. In other cases, it might be 2 or 3 days. So making sure the contract review is adequate and having some way to measure the effectiveness. And I see some people doing a good job on that. The third thing I think people should be doing more effort in is your own internal audits. A lot of you have external audits beyond the ISO third-party register coming in, and you should know the standing of your quality system. And I see some people doing a better job on internal auditing because it makes good business sense, finding issues prior to some outside people doing it. It's a lot easier and less expensive than waiting for a third party or your second party customer coming in and writing up issues.
Rand, we appreciate the work you're doing with the heat treating industry. Thanks for being with us today on MTI TV.
Thanks, I enjoyed it very much.
Members, in the hectic world of competition, those who are surrounded by a big team of professionals who understand their business are the ones who are most likely to be successful. MTI has an industry support team in numerous areas such as ISO 9000 compliance. If you have further questions on the new standard for RAN winners, you can contact our office or RAN Winners Direct. Remember, our industry support team is there for you every day because you're not just strong, you're MTI strong. We'll see you next time on MTI TV.
There is strong. Then, there is MTI strong.